Hello everyone. I did not want to make a video, but there's just too much information we have to go through, and I really want to cover everything, including the evidence, because the elections in Hungary are due on Sunday, so just a few days away. And I already see a lot of Romanian NGOs that have supported the annulment of the elections in Romania, basically supporting Peter Magyar against Viktor Orbán and just peddling the whole fake news, Russia hoax narrative, and so on and so forth in regards to Hungary as well, which is not only false in itself, but it's also election interference. So I want to show you some connections between the Romanian NGOs and NGOs that are busy attacking Viktor Orbán. Let's see. We have this V-Square investigation. V-Square is an NGO that has been active in election interference, essentially, in Hungary. And I wrote an extensive article on V-Square because they attacked the leader of the opposition in Romania by saying that he essentially made Karol Nawrocki, the president of Poland, president, which is insane. I mean, these allegations are insane. And I covered the background of the so-called journalist who helped with this investigation, a guy that has lost a bunch of lawsuits and has made basically the Context.ro NGO that you see here from scratch as a shell NGO, just so he wouldn't pay basically the money he owed to the people who won the lawsuits, which is crazy, but it's, yeah. So Context.ro has made a series of, let's call them smear pieces against Viktor Orbán, but the latest one that they have been promoting on Facebook is this one. It's basically a copy-paste of the so-called V-Square investigation. Now, I want to prove that there is a connection between Ukraine, the V-Square NGO, and the Context.ro NGO, which interfered in our elections as well in Romania. Let me show you this piece right here. So basically, V-Square and Context.ro, as NGOs, along with other NGOs, in the EU have made, let's call them, what is it called? It's called EDMO fact-checking. So basically it's the European Democratic Observatory that deals with basically election interference and taking your social media posts down because you disagree with the Brussels narrative. That's the whole EDMO hub. So V-Square has made something called the fire hose of falsehood, which basically accuses various leaders, political leaders, and political parties in various EU countries of being pro-Russian. And obviously, they have an extensive report on Hungary, okay? This is V-Square. They've used, and you can find this on their website, they've used a tool called Osavul. Osavul is a tool, an AI platform actually, made by Ukraine. Okay, so this is the one I'm talking about, and you can see the funding, the shit ton of money that it gets. I don't understand why, but that's a different story. So this AI platform was made by Ukraine at the start of the Russia war in Ukraine, okay? Now this platform is being used by all of these NGOs, all of these fact-checkers, all of these so-called independent media outlets that have as a primary purpose and target to interfere in democratic elections. I think it's important for you to understand that this tool made by Ukraine is actually used to automatically flag social media posts as Russian disinformation, or disinformation, generally speaking. So basically, this tool is the one that gets your social media accounts blocked, social media posts taken down, and so on and so forth. So at the core of censorship, especially during elections, because as you know, the EU has something called the rapid response system, something like that, which basically deals with fighting disinformation on social media through this tool by using this platform made by Ukraine. And I've already documented extensively on my account the interference on behalf of Ukraine in Hungarian elections. I made a post yesterday about Andriy Yermak's NGO that's recruiting people to essentially put up something of a Maidan, of a Euromaidan in Hungary in case Peter Magyar loses the elections. They're recruiting people actively, and I found the connections with Andriy Yermak and his lawyer friends. Now I'm going to show you that context.ro, so basically the partner of V-Square, has done this before by using this tool called Osavul, okay? An analysis conducted using the specialized software Osavul indicates possible coordination between these accounts. So basically this was an analysis that came 2 days after Călin Georgescu won the first round of the presidential elections in Romania in 2024. And as you can see, they're alleging that Russian accounts, Russian bots were promoting Călin Georgescu. And they allege this because they used Osavul, the Ukrainian software. Now, it's 2026. At the beginning of this year, we had the report from the House Judiciary Committee in the US Congress, which basically disproved and denied all of these crazy claims that Russian bots and Russian TikTok accounts were promoting Călin Georgescu. There was nothing like that. So the Russian narrative just went out the window. And as you know, Călin Georgescu has no more preventive measures imposed against him in his trial. So there is no solid proof that he has connections to Russians. Otherwise, he would have been, incarcerated. And we all know it's a political scam, all of it, just to get the elections in Romania canceled. There is, like I said, a huge connection between these NGOs, and they're operating using a Ukrainian software, which is crazy. Now, I want to show you a few other things just so you understand who's funding context.ro. For example, we have the director of the NGO, this lady right here, and you can already see some of the sponsors: National Endowment for Democracy, so basically USAID. You have the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, as we know, getting massive USAID funding, the European Commission, of course. And here you have examples, like reports from, like their own reports that say how much money they were getting in 1 year. Okay? Here you have the whole network of NGOs that operate in promoting censorship, election interference, and basically attacking anyone who does not support the Brussels narrative. And here I found additional funding from the EU Commission to context.ro, this NGO, up to 2 million euros, taxpayer money. No, it's even more. It's around 3 million euros, okay? 3 million euros total funding for this NGO from our taxpayer money. Now, this person, the director, as you can see, says she worked for 20 years as a press assistant and PR specialist at the US Embassy in Romania, and organized media events and campaigns for various US government entities. Yeah, I've documented all this and we don't have the time to go through it. It's 99% Democrats. Of course it's Democrats. The last thing I want to show you that's of high interest to the Hungarian audience is this NGO called Investigatoria. This is another NGO that presents itself to be an independent media. It's not. Now, this NGO had an interview with some guy called Attila Marton. And this guy, just like context, because you have to get the whole picture. We have a big Hungarian minority in Romania, as most of Hungarians actually know. And out of, let's say, I don't know, 2 million Hungarians living in Romania, Hungarian minority Romanian citizens that live in Romania, let's say 700,000 of them have the right to vote in the Hungarian elections. This is the target audience. This is why they're peddling mainstream media outlets, Romanian NGOs that are partnered with NGOs attacking Orbán actively, NGOs funded by the EU, NGOs funded by USAID, and so on and so forth. All of them using the same Ukrainian platform. The target audience of these smear campaigns is the Hungarian minority in Romania, okay? It's a lot of votes. It may not seem like much, but it is a lot of votes. And as you can see, this guy literally says that Romania is home to the largest Hungarian community outside the neighboring countries that have the right to vote. And the whole article is about how Hungarians in Romania need to vote against Orbán to save democracy. You know, the whole dealio. Yeah, they've done this in Romania. They've done this in Poland's elections. They've done this everywhere. Don't let them do this to you as well in Hungary. Thank you.